Good morning. Good morning. Can you guys hear me? Good morning. I see we have Shanae, Holland, Mike Fair. Thank you guys so much for joining my session. Please let me know if you can hear me, if I can fix on my end. Super excited to get started. How you doing, Keisha? Thank you so much for responding. Thank you guys so much. I'll give people like a few more seconds. Good morning, team RHO. Super honored to be here this morning, and big thank you to AJ for allowing me to share in this opportunity. Thank you so much, Darius. Thank you to AJ for allowing me to share. Had some technical difficulties last week, but we were able to make it work. So I'm super honored to be here. Again, my name is Jalil Brown, and I'm honored to serve as the communications director at Mount Hope Baptist Church in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Um, Today I'm just going to honestly share some stories and insights about how how we as ministry media team players can be more resilient, some of the things we faced, and some of the ways we've overcome our obstacles. So before we get started, let's start with a quick word of prayer and let's jump into the conversation. Lord, thank you for another day. Thank you for allowing us to come together. Thank you for all those that are on watching now and will watch later as we discuss tips to be more effective in our roles in the media ministry. Pray that we use this time wisely to be beneficial to your kingdom, to grow stronger and build networks. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Well, let's get started. I see we have 7 people. Again, my name is Jalil, and I'm the director at Mount Hope Baptist Church in Fredericksburg. We are about 45 minutes outside of DC and 45 minutes north of Richmond. So we're in a great space as we try to build our networks. And throughout this presentation, if you have any questions or want to chime in, feel free to comment in the chat, and I'll be sure to respond. So in this session, we'll cover definitions, we'll cover tips, we'll cover tools, strategic goals, and I'll share my contact information if anybody wants to connect after this conference. So, what is resiliency? Resiliency is simply the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties and shows toughness. And I think that says so much about the things we go through. Even this morning, it was going on, Monty. Even this morning, it was saying my mic wasn't working. It was saying my webcam wasn't working. And shout out to Monty for the mic. I brought this off his site. It's amazing. And so it was just, even this morning was tough. Last week, my session didn't work at all because of some technical issues. And so when I was reading the definition, I was kind of re strategizing how I would present this week. I was like, to recover quickly. And that's all I could think about throughout the week was recovering quickly, recovering quickly. To come on this morning and share some insights and nuggets with all of us that are in media. So, I'll start with how I got into social media or into the role of communications director. Uh, I've been going here since 2012, and they hired me as the drummer, and so I was excited, but at the same time, I was just got secured the job for playing drums for R&B recording artist Genuine. And so I was like at the church, but I was torn and we were traveling and we were doing, all these different things throughout the weeks and the weekends. And so my focus wasn't 100% on church, but all they knew me was as the drummer. And so I was just beginning to notice, I was like, well, it don't look like they're online and we're not streaming. And, I start asking questions. And then as I began to ask, there was a lot of fears that came with the word social media, with the word technology, with the word internet. And it was perceived as a negative thing versus a way that we could reach the masses. Go ye therefore make disciples. The church leaders were looking at it as, oh, you can get hacked. Oh, people can get your information. Oh, people can see you online. And so I knew social media. I kind of knew a little bit about the tech side, but I just wanted to stay in my lane, get a little bit more information, and try to see if I could help put my church in another tier to go forward. Just as a reference point, our church seats about 500, but we have a membership of around 700. And so I wanted to make sure I was legit with what I was going to present to them when the time came. So our leaders were a little stuck in tradition. We're a traditional Baptist church. Excuse me. Um, like I said, the negative thoughts about social media. So maybe 4 years go by. Let's fast forward to like 16, and I was like, hey, there's this thing called Post on My Wall. There's this thing called Canva. There's this thing called Photoshop. And so I was like, man, let me start dibbling and dabbling and dibbling and dabbling. And our former logo was a fire with a cross in it with the letters MHBC inside. And I said, does that really represent our church? Does that really, if I was visiting the site, would I really be interested in coming to that church? And so we took a look. I said, well, maybe if I go to seek out some logo designers, maybe the church will be interested in us trying something new. Well, that went terribly wrong. Terribly wrong. They did not like my new concepts. They did not like anything I presented. And at that point, I said, well, y'all don't got to ask me for nothing else no more. I'm not doing it. Don't ask me to be on no teams. Don't ask me to do anything. Y'all didn't even take this into consideration. And as the word resiliency keeps coming to mind, I'm like, you got to recover quickly. You got to recover quickly. And so I waited a while, waited a little bit of time. 2017 comes around, and now I'm like really energized. All the new Facebook features and Instagram features, and I was like, yo, we got to get our church on track. So I brought it up to the team, had a meeting with leadership, and their response was, well, if you write a policy for everything you want, we'll let you start with some. And I said, start with some? A policy? So we were in a meeting. I'll never forget. We were in a meeting, and the demographics of our church, a lot of people work for the government. So people work in Secret Service, law enforcement, da 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 da. So they brought me a 30-page social media document they found from a job. And I said, y'all, this, if y'all can only imagine, this is the funniest thing ever, ever. So I said, they said, well, if you could fill this out, we'll start with maybe letting you guys use the Facebook page. Now I mentioned this is 2017. The pandemic didn't start until kind of shut things down until like March of 2020. So I said, well, I guess we won't have no social media. So after a while, we began to just slowly create accounts, but didn't make them public. And I think one of the things I want to point out is strategy. And the key to being resilient, to showing resiliency, is to have a strategy. So I didn't do the document. I kind of looked through it, but it didn't apply to us. I was like, we can't use this. So we created an Instagram, a Facebook, and a Twitter. And the church had a Facebook, right? And I see you, Monty and Jaquel, crazy, right? I agree. We created the accounts, but we didn't go active with them. We kind of just wanted to create them, get the we wanted to use the Hope VA. And so our church is called Mount Hope Baptist Church, but our pastor kind of came up with this, oh, you come visit the Hope, come worship at the Hope. And so he was like, yo, I think that kind of works. The hashtag, we did the research on the hashtags, and it was legitimate as far as, it didn't have traffic on it. So I said, oh, that may be cool for us to kind of secure that. So we set up the accounts. They began to be like, okay, well, maybe ease into them, post a little bit, and we'll kind of let y'all know if we think it's working, if it's worth having, if we'll keep posting to it. So cool. I took the little baby steps. took the baby steps. So as I began to get more access to our Facebook page, because there was already a person working our Facebook page and our website, but they did not match our brand. They did not match the style of service we had. They didn't match the demographic that we were ministering to in person on a weekly basis. Because to say all this, we weren't streaming at all. So there was only in person. And so I said, man, we don't got no traffic on the page. We got low posts. We don't have organic posts. We have like, you can go download it off something else, or they might have took something from Google. So I'm beginning to ask the church. I said, hey, we really need some engagement on our Facebook page. Can we consider streaming? Can we X, Y, and Z? And they were really, really, really hesitant. So we met again, and then pulling on the same time, pulling on the same time. The website was outdated, hard to navigate, and no live streaming again. So I'm like, guys, we're asking people to come to the church. We're asking people to visit us online, and we're not able to produce content where it can engage them online. So, said all that, Facebook and website began to be our two primary things. The church was like, well, we see you kind of doing some graphics on Canva and post on my wall. Maybe we'll give you a shot. Maybe we'll just let you do like one or two graphics to put on the screen, and we'll go from there. I said, so okay, I had a strategy. So I got a little bit of engagement with the Facebook and the website. I got a little bit of engagement working on graphics, and I still had in the back of my mind that, you wanted to create a new logo. Don't stop. And so I want to keep going back to the word resiliency, and that simply means to the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. So we're about 2018, mid 2018. They've entertained getting a new website. They've entertained streaming on Facebook. I had no idea about streaming. And to be honest with you, I didn't learn about it until the pandemic. I was cool with just knowing the Facebook side. And so we get through all that. We're there. It's 2018. Our church is growing, like really growing, in every aspect. Christian education classes, um, community events. Other churches were coming here to have conferences, and our music ministry was doing some cool things in the community. Outreach was very active, and so I was like, man, this would be a great time for us to really go all in. And so one of the revivals came around, and I was like, let's go to the mall and let's put up posters in the mall. And the church was like, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. So again, when I say recover quickly, it's simply not just beating a dead horse per se, but even showing new tools and tactics to be able to make a difference, and just get people to understand things in a way that may not be their ideal way to get to the intended result. So around 2018, I really took a deep dive into a desire to grow, not only as a communications director, but as a leader. And so I started taking classes. I started looking up online toolkits, stuff like Grow Leader, YouTube, Udemy, Stack Skills. I mean, there was a plethora of things I was just constantly engaging myself in so that I could be connected and be stronger in these presentations. So 2019 comes around, and I just had the words was like, just do it, just do it, just do it. And so I just did it. So we implemented a new logo in 2019. We implemented a new website in 2019. We introduced our church into the concept of a church app in 2019. Some of that didn't manifest till 2020, but we were able to plant that seed. And then when it came time for us to do it and it financially made sense, we were able to execute. So, as you all know, the pandemic came in March of 2020. And everything that I had worked for, I had no idea what it was for, but I just knew that I enjoyed serving where I serve, and I had enjoyed the process that it took to get here. And so the pandemic really showed me what resiliency meant, what resiliency means. Watching other churches, I've noticed some have like a production team, they have a social media team, they'll have a communications team, they'll have a fine arts is separate, but for our church, the communications director was over audio, graphics, social media, content, engagement, emails, and the list goes on. And so, Darius, you're absolutely right. Darius said, often the greatest opposition comes from within. Um, and so, pandemic hit in March. In January of 2020, the church said, "Well, we'll officially name you the communications director." I said, "Wow, I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much." And it comes with a little stipend, and I said, "Okay, cool, cool, cool." So between January and March, and even before, like mid 2018, 2019, I would go Facebook Live from my phone, like just hey, hey, let's try to stream, let's try to stream. And so I just want to show y'all what resiliency really looks like in my context. This was my streaming setup, and if the first person in the comment section that can respond, I'm gonna send you a cash app. If you could tell me what this was for, and man, thank you so much, AJ. All right, guys, this right here. If you could tell me how this goes together, there's definitely a prize. I promise you. Give it a few seconds. Duct tape. Not quite not quite duct tape. Dominic. Absolutely, Dominic. I'm definitely a drummer. Definitely. So look, this is what happened. All right. What I would do is the selfie stick was from Five and Below. And it broke. So I only had one half of it. And at my church, there you go, Sean. Yep, we'll connect. Sean White got it. Put the bottom half of the selfie stick into the drum stand, into the cymbal stand, and put the phone on the top half. And I would literally run across. I would leave the drum booth and run to the front row and put my camera on the very end and sit there and stream it. People was like, "Yo, he is crazy. Why do you keep doing that?" And in my head, I'm just like, resiliency. It's gonna pay off. I don't know how. I don't know why. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna just keep on serving. We're gonna get this done. And so I Dominique, actually the cymbal stand was broke, so I didn't even have the screw to fasten it. So literally, I just put the selfie stick in the stand, and because of that, because the stand was broke, I had to take a broke drumstick and put it on the other side so that it wouldn't move. And so people was always laughing because people get excited, or one of the directors would kind of jump across and they butt me in the screen. I'd be like, "Come on, sir, scoot over a little bit, scoot over a little bit." And so that was just, it was funny, y'all. I'm telling you. So when they tried to hire me to be this director, I was like, "Y'all want me? Me and my little phone? Because again, I was just focused on the social side. I didn't know the tech side. So we streamed um, 3 times between September 19th and March 14th. We had streamed from our church 3 times, not on the phone, but like from our church. We had some PTZs. And I said, well, the pandemic is here. Our church stopped having in person service on March 15th, 2020. And so, absolutely, Darius, make it work by any means necessary. and so, any means necessary. That's a great point. So, they say, yo, we talked on a Friday night. I have a group I played drums for, and we had John P. Key on that Saturday, and then church was Sunday. This is March of 2020. So I'm prepared. Like they're like, well, we're not gonna do any in person. We're just gonna live stream. And I said, y'all do know that we have not intentionally live streamed uh ever since I've been here. Never. So we were talking on this conference call. This was Friday night. We were talking, and I said, Jalil, you don't know how to work none of this stuff. We're lost. Like we're really gonna be lost come tomorrow. So I'm looking online. I started scrolling back through our church Facebook page, and I said, "Where these videos look like?" And man, when I tell y'all, I'm serious. Some of the videos had like it was nothing but like one choir song. There was some videos that the media team had streamed and was like, it only had the musicians and the choir, but you couldn't hear the lead singer. Or sometimes you just heard like they recorded a 5-minute video of the pastor. It wasn't consistent quality service. So I said, our team will be more than happy to serve this coming Sunday, but please know we've never done this before. And two, the guy that was running the team, he left because he got a new position in Tennessee. So we're talking, and they were like, whatever we can do, we just want people to be safe. And I said, absolutely, I agree 100%. So 2020, that third Sunday service comes, and our numbers were through the roof. Like I think that first service, by the end of the day, we had almost 2,000 views. And so I took these numbers back to the team. I said, we can't hold 2,000 people in our church, not even with 2 services like we were doing. And I said, when they begin to see the numbers, their mindset shifted. And again, with being resilient, I'm just being strategic on how I present to them. Look, guys, we can only hold 500, but if we can reach 2,000 online, not reach 2,000 views, we were reaching way higher than that. I said, so if we can get that many people to our streams, then this may be something worth investing in. So as I begin to figure out what can I do to make my case, now that there's nobody in the audience, there's just the praise team, the pastor, and maybe the directors in the room. What can I do to help speak their language? So I remember I told you guys they were government workers. So their ideas are, if you bring up an issue, what are your recommendations? All I was doing was pointing out issues. And so when we talk about being resilient and how to have modern media ministry resiliency, one of the things is not just saying the issues, but bringing up, how can we fix the problem? How will it benefit us? And instead of jumping in trying to like go from a no live stream to the best live stream in Fredericksburg, like take baby steps. Let's set goals. And so literally over the following 60 days, one of the goals were, our cameras aren't, we had PTZs, they were really high. So when we zoomed in, it didn't always look great from where they were positioned. So I said, well, is there anything else we can do? Then we got introduced to stuff like Switcher, which was way more effective for our Bible studies. So we went over to using our sound system and the pastor's mic to use StreamYard for Bible studies. Because before this, we weren't streaming our Bible studies either. We were only streaming with the pandemic just that Sunday morning. Don said, I understand. We had 12 people in the building putting our service out over the stream. Exactly. And our church said, hey, y'all can do it with a skeleton team. 3 will do just fine. I said, 3? We still learning. So I found myself here day and night trying to figure out how to take baby steps and how to present it in a way that their team or the leadership team could understand and digest where we were trying to go, because this was all new to us. And I do believe, I honestly say, that after the first 3 months, our church could really, really, really see the commitment, the dedication, and the time it takes to learn. As quick as AJ and I was talking on Thursday after praise team rehearsal, was as fast as Black Magic was dropping new stuff. And we just made a huge investment. And you guys can check out the behind the scenes session at 12 and kind of see some of the updated things that our church did in our remodel. And so the church was like, man, we really appreciate you guys. We're able to connect. Our giving is strong. People are engaging. We're seeing people that we haven't seen in years. I mean, literally years. We haven't connected with these people because they moved away, or they're in the service, or they're in the military, any type of service they were doing. Family has took them away because now they're taking care of their parents and they're out of town. And so one day they said, can you come in the office? I said, did we get in trouble? Did we do something wrong? I was nervous now. And they were like, no, we just want to be a blessing to you and Brandy. Brandy is the assistant communications director. So they handed me an envelope. I went to the bank. I didn't open it. I went to the bank. I said, this for me? So they was like, man, we really appreciate you guys. And so again, when I talk about being resilient, it didn't just happen because March happened. I had been beating this horse since like 2016, 2017. And then finally, when I was able to kind of step up and it was our time, we were able to step in and then be more effective and intentional. And so here are just a few. I wanted to share a few nuggets really quick about steps to boost in resiliency in social media in media ministry. Remain authentic, know values, strengths, and emotional intelligence. And be prepared for the no's, maintain perspective, and understand that this is an ever evolving and ever changing process. So AJ said, "Thank you, Lord, for the increase." Amen to that. So I'll say that one more time. Just some steps if you want to jot these notes down on whatever kind of device you got. Steps to boosting resiliency in media is remain authentic, know your values, strengths, and emotional intelligence. Be prepared for the no's, maintain perspective, and understand this is evolving and ever changing. And so as the pandemic came, we was like, can we get an iPad? Now, mind y'all, I just got the position in January. So I didn't have no budget. I didn't know how our church budget process worked, but I just knew that there was some equipment we needed that we didn't have. And so um, I asked for the iPad. It was like an iPad that we could use for maybe like recording announcement videos because since people weren't coming in, there was nobody across the pulpit to read announcements. There was no um, engagement that could be recorded because we didn't have the tools. We only had PTZs. Persistence, actually, absolutely. Patience, absolutely. And so they said, well, yeah, we can get you the iPad. And I ran to Best Buy and got me an iPad stand. I said, this will do good for now. Can you? Mike said, can you elaborate on how you prepare for the nose? Absolutely, Mike. And when I started the session earlier, I was mentioning that I had started back in like 2016, 17. And at the time, I wasn't mentally prepared for the nose. And my frustration probably showed more than grace because I was very uh, upset that they wouldn't take the time to understand what I was trying to say on a field that I felt like I was strong enough to engage in. And so when I say be prepared for the no's, sometimes it's not that they don't agree, they just don't understand why it would be beneficial to do it. And the easiest and the safest answer is to say, no, we're not going to do that right now. And so I've learned over the past 16 months that sometimes it's just presenting it in a way they can understand. And if they don't understand it, it'll be a no, because there should be no reason why we do it. And so I've got a whole lot of no's. But as I begin to show the commitment, the dedication, and the consistency, my pastor has valued highly what we bring to the table. So the no's lessen because we begin to break it down in a way that he can understand and he can take it to his team. And so just understanding that no doesn't mean like, no, we can never do this. No sometimes means I just don't see why we should do it that way. I want to create an example. I want to create an example so I can make sure I give you sort of where the no comes from. Oh, perfect example. We had let's see, a no, community service. Community service. I had asked a while ago, remember like 2018, 19, could we do some community outreach? Well, the director said no of outreach. So I waited. There were some other things that came up, some community groups, and I told my pastor, I said, hey, I think we would be great at participating in some of this. So even though the director said no on another instance, I went and explained the same thing to my pastor, but with different language. And it was an absolutely yes. How fast can we do this? And so again, the first person I asked didn't see value in it. The second person I asked, which was the pastor, said, absolutely, let's go for this. Same instance with our church app. Some of our leaders said, why would we spend money on the app? Ain't nobody gonna watch an app. Ain't nobody gonna get on. They're gonna download it. I said, guys, Y'all use apps for everything. Y'all got the McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, Walmart. Um, y'all got Nike. You got everybody's app. So why can't we just put the church at people's fingertips? If they're already on their phone, they don't have to go searching. They don't have to go looking for events. They can just go right to the app and register. They can watch our services on demand and our live stream. And so again, when I hope I'm answering your question, Mike. When people say no, just understand it's always not a no. That it's just maybe another way it needs to be explained so that it makes absolute sense. So one of the things I begin to like, for my 9 to 5, I work for FEMA, so I do a lot of data and numbers, and so I begin to understand how important and how helpful analytics, charts, numbers matter. I didn't realize that Facebook had even had all these insights. So I began to look and I was like, we're reaching. Oh, you're welcome, Mike. Um, I began to notice that Facebook had like engagement, reach, demographic, how often they're online, what they look for. And I was like, oh, this is good. Our church uses Boxcast to do our streaming. So Boxcast breaks it down a little differently to where you can see what they're watching the stream in. So if it's 240, if it's 480, if it's 720, if it's 1080, Boxcast breaks those numbers down. It also tell you what kind of internet browser they're using. It tells you what type of phone or device they're on. It'll tell you the states and how long they watched, when the views went up and down, X, Y, and Z. So I begin to present that back to our church. And one of the things that was a blessing to our entire leadership team, even the ones that had told us no consistently, was that we were reaching at least 24 states a Sunday. Now, with no live streaming, those 24 states wouldn't matter because they wouldn't be able to come to our church on a Sunday. And so I began to re-present old information in a new way to start saying, hey, we've noticed that everybody doesn't watch our service real time. So what if we started having a 9 p.m. service? Our recommendation is that if we live stream the same service again at 9 p.m., we can do three things. We can engage, we can create serving opportunities, and we can keep people in a model of what we used to do. We used to have 7:45 and 9:45. Now we're only having 9:45 and 9 p.m. But it's just a stream of the 9:45 a.m. service. Well, why would you say that, Jalil? According to the numbers, a lot of our viewers were from the West Coast. So if you're in California, our 9:45 service would be 6:45 a.m. That may not make sense, but if we do a 9 p.m. stream, then it's 6 p.m. And so those are the type of things when I talk about resiliency and representing information to get your yeses. Those are some of the tools and tips that we use to get people to kind of buy in to what we were saying because they couldn't see it at first. Why would we need an app? Why do we need Facebook? Why do we need the website? Why do we need YouTube? Why do we need? And I was like, come on, guys. I built the YouTube channel and didn't tell nobody. I didn't tell anybody. I went to YouTube, looked at some videos online, how to start a YouTube channel. I started the channel, and I mean, we didn't tell people we were streaming there because we weren't sure how it was going to work. So once we streamed, I was like, yo, this is cool. You can have your own descriptions, and now you can do like timestamps. And I said, oh, I really, really like YouTube. So before I know it, the pastor makes the announcement, we're streaming on YouTube now. And I think within a matter of, we just started YouTube not too long ago. I'll say we're at almost like 300 subscribers. But mind you, we have an older church. Our church is like a 55 and up church. And so one of the reasons when I went to go present information, another thing was I said we have a lot of platforms because our members are telling us what they do and don't like. I noticed that some of the older members who aren't into tech don't like a lot of engagement in the chat section. So for me, do your amen, brother. Do your one proof of concept. Darius, explain exactly what you mean so I can make sure I give you a good answer. So some of the older members were like, well, we don't like the fact that it's a lot of talking in the comment section on the Facebook page. It's distracting. Well, the people on Facebook was like, I appreciate being able to say good morning and see the chat engagement with people who I would normally sit in church with. So for us, it was like, well, why can't we have both? Why can't we have more than that? We're streaming on the website, which we use Church Online platform, and we're streaming on Facebook, and we have online hosts, and then we're streaming on the YouTube channel, which we do minimal engagement. We're there, but we're not there as much as we are on Facebook. Keisha said I started with YouTube, then we did Facebook Live. We just did the opposite, but it's definitely been a blessing, and the subscribers have enjoyed the content. I'm looking at views now from our replay services, and they're almost as strong as they are for the main service. And so just little stuff. And Mike, I hope that goes back to piggyback about the no's. Like, why would we need Facebook? Well, the same thing was, why do we need YouTube? Why do we need to keep streaming? So at this present moment, to put it in perspective for you guys, we're streaming to Church Online platform, Facebook Live, YouTube, our church app, Apple TV, Roku, and conference call. And people will say, again, well, why do we have so many? Well, Apple TV and Roku came with Boxcast, so we're just going to use it because we got it. And then conference call. Our stream was really, really bad at first, and the people on conference call was like, I'm not kind of impressed with what you guys are putting out. And so I said, well, how can we fix that? Well, fixing that was setting up a Zoom and only sharing the phone number, but not telling people it was a Zoom line. So that's how we were able to. And what we would do was we was just sharing the stream to Zoom and using the audio, but having them just dial in. Again, another way to be effective with the situation you're dealt. And Darius said doing your own YouTube was proof. Yeah, absolutely, Darius. Absolutely. Team RHO says our replays get more views than our live services. It's definitely beginning to get that way for our church, which helps with our media ministry saying, hey, if we provide these at more times, we can be beneficial to more people. So I feel like a preacher because, they got a script written out and the time be short. So RHO said, hence letting your messages outlive you. Most people forget about the longevity and replay of live events. Absolutely. I agree, AJ. It's there. And I have this conversation with our Christian education team all the time. They love to see Zoom meetings, Zoom content, but don't understand the value of just making some Christian education content that can live online, because we're almost punishing people for having a life, right? If we're be technical about this. If I miss a Zoom and we're offering a service and you don't put it online, then if I had work, if I had kids, if I had take care of parents and I missed it, then it's over forever. So I wanted to introduce to them, hey, can you guys consider streaming some of the Zooms? Can you record it and then we repurpose it later on our social platforms? Now, I haven't got that argument straight yet, but I'm still working on it. I'm going to continue to be resilient with this content. And so one of the tips, I only got two more major points. Find mentors. Sean White Jr. said, I love that, giving them what they want while not concerning them with the behind the scenes, why they won't understand. It's great that you have so much connections to get raw feedback from people. Absolutely, Sean. We can't do this by ourselves. So we have to get feedback from those who are continuing to watch our stream weekly. So one of my tips I want to share with you guys is find mentors, build networks, classes, Church Marketing University, Church Fuel, YouTube, AJ. This Facebook group has been a tremendous blessing to a lot of us. Um, get encouragement. I can say there has been several members of our church who have consistently, and I mean consistently, either stopped by, sent cards, sent thank you notes, sent letters, Facebook posts just to say you guys are doing a great job. And find somebody that you can vent to. Find somebody that will allow you to express yourself. My laptop is dying. Um, find somebody that you can express yourself to, and it just stays there. Because as we all know, what we do is not an easy task. And so, one of the things I called AJ a couple times, and when I tell you AJ showed brotherly characteristics since the first time we met. I'm not bragging on AJ, and he didn't pay me to put this um put this nugget in here, but I wanna just share with you guys what I mean. Let me plug this in 1 second. So, for example, we hired AJ to help us with a project. And I mean, when I tell you he went above and beyond with service and answering, and while he was here, of course, we picked his brain. Man, we having this problem, we're having that problem. Do you have advice? Can you help us? Just and he just listened, went and sat on the organ and listened some more. And so it's great to have people like that. I have a friend, Lance, who works at a mega church in Richmond, and he was doing the same thing, man. He would call me. I said, I just need to talk to you, man. I just need to talk. Am I doing something wrong? Is it me, or am I on the right path? And I think just having those friendships and relationships really sets you up, to one, be reminded about all the work it takes. And I think Sean said behind the scenes, and I don't think church leadership nor the viewers that get to enjoy the services on Sunday really even understand how much work it is behind the scenes. So having friends that you can talk to that can encourage you, but you can also just express, am I doing this right, or is there another way? Um, my, Monty said, hold on, AJ was in Fredericksburg. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, um, brainstorming. I've really appreciated. I wish I could turn my camera around. Let me see if this works. Is this here? Y'all go. This was not a part of my plan, but this is our brainstorming board right here in our room. This is where we put all our notes there, and we got vision on one side, goals on one side. We have our teams. We have all the ministry events that we have going on for the next couple months in this one spot, so we can keep seeing it, remind ourselves of what's the task at hand, how we're going to accomplish it, and hold ourselves accountable. So it also allows our pastor to come in here and kind of see, leaders to come in here and see, we leave this up, all the things we're working on, all the things we've accomplished, and what we're going to be doing next. So there are two churches in Fredericksburg. One is Life Point, one is Strong Tower. They have been some amazing mentors in person, because sometimes it's cool to watch it online, but if you kind of need some people, you need some people that you can actually go to their facilities and see what they were doing. And so we've been super, super appreciative. Life Point, for example, they had like 16 services a weekend. So their streaming is crazy. I thought we were doing something with our little setup, but when I watched theirs, I was like, yo, this right here, this is amazing. This is amazing. So as of today is the 30. Monty said, yeah, those two ministries are great examples for us. Absolutely. As of today at Mount Hope, and I don't take no credit for this at all, but I'll just go back to tell you guys, if you can just stay resilient and recover quickly. um, Here's where we've been able to come to from hiring a communications director and assistant director. We now have a team of about 15, to include camera operators, ATEM operators, pro presenter operators, sound engineers, online chat hosts. Um, we are using and you can listen to it in the next section. But we're using Boxcast, we're using Behringer X32, we're using oh man, what are those things called? iRigs. We're using in-ear monitors. The list goes on. The list goes on and on and on. We have production meetings weekly. 7 streaming options every Sunday and Tuesday. Our church just finished their second major upgrade in less than 2.5 years. And with all that, we've been able to sow back into other ministries. So in the past 7 weeks, we've been able to mentor 5 ministries locally, smaller churches that just wanted to be able to do something. One of them wasn't even doing Facebook Live yet. So, just the simple things, like Monty said that Strong Tower and Life Point were great examples. Like, I just felt the urge to make sure if a church called us the same way Strong Tower and Life Point opened their doors, I want to just go ahead and return that back to the other churches in our community. So in closing, I'll say, listen, just keep the faith, keep the main thing the main thing. Keep the main thing the main thing. Whatever role you're serving in, whatever church you're serving at, remain faithful. Keep optimistic thinking. Don't be afraid to seek assistance. Learn from your mistakes. Understand the current strengths and weaknesses. Goal setting with realistic expectations. Develop good problem solving skills. Maintain self control. And that's one area I was super weak in when I first started in this role. But as the months have gone on and I've been able to just grow in my journey, I've been able to develop self control and the ability to recognize emotion. Stay healthy. Keep your health and limitations in the forefront. And I failed at that because there were weeks I was here all night long. Had to get up in the morning to go to work. But I was just so eager to make sure we had a quality product on Sunday mornings. And so that's pretty much for me. That's pretty much it for me, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. We have about 6 minutes left. I can share my contact information if anybody wants to connect. Reach out to me. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to scroll my information. Shoot me a text if you would like to. If you have any questions, want any more information. If anybody is close to Virginia, feel free to let me know, and I'll be more than happy to connect with you guys. It should be scrolling now. Yeah, there we go. T. Marshalls, nice talk. Thank you, man. Sean said, is your team cross-trained or do you have them more towards specialized work? And thank you, AJ. God bless you. Thank you, Darius. Sean, we are cross-trained. So if our sound man doesn't come, I'll be the sound man and I'll hire another drummer to come in and take my spot. If our pro presenter person doesn't come, our A10 person can come over. Yes, we're cross-trained. We're cross-trained. We may not be experts yet, but we're cross-trained. And Dominic, absolutely, man. Just shoot me a text or email or send me a friend request, and we'll definitely connect. Yep, Keisha, you're not in the boat alone. If you can reach out if you have any questions or you need somebody to vent as well. Speaking of Darius' question, Sean's question, are we cross-trained? We just began to cross-train. Before I became the leader, right when the pandemic started, thank you, Mike. Our team actually was not cross-trained. Their thought process prior to me coming along was, you do this until you become an expert. What was happening was when people started missing, there was no backups. And so I was like, well, we can't go back into that model because now we have more roles, right? So we have 3 camera operators, we have pro presenter person, we have an A10 person, we have a director, and then we have our sound man. So I was like, there's no way that we can do all of that with just having a A person. That's when we realized the B team was going to be vital. Rachel, thank you so much. Don, thank you, man. Leroy, thank you. Keisha said, I'm trying to cross train people so I can take a day off. Absolutely. And you need the day off. My pastor gave us the whole July off. We pre-recorded our services for the month of July. So we took the whole month off and we just did our first live service fourth Sunday. And that downtime was amazing. I was able to spend time with my wife. We went on a little trip. I was able to go support other churches. And I was able just to evaluate where we were at the time. And so, Keisha, please make sure you take some time off in the near future. Please take some time off. Again, guys, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna log off now. It's been an honor to be here. Thank you so much, AJ. And again, if anybody wants to connect, I look forward to hearing from you guys soon. God bless.